John here.
And RedX is here.
And this is Nicole speaking.
And you're dismissed.
Just wanted to go ahead and show you, do a review for my DX10 Terminator 2 Judgment Day T800, which I want to give a special thanks to my boy Odell. This was my present for Christmas that he sent me. Well, like I said, I've not really ever reviewed a figure, so I'll just show you stuff on it, I guess. As you can see, he's got a very good head sculpt for Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's got a what do you call it, parallel eye system.
Purse.
And you take off the back of the head, and they have this little button up here, and you can switch it. I'm trying to do it.
It's just like the DX09 Batman figure that I've shown off to you guys already.
I got him in the pose I like him, though. There's a little magnet on the head that keeps the hair from falling off. I basically just have him posed kind of like the Cyberdyne shootout scene. The hardest thing to do on this pose is keep the handbag on him because it always wants to fall off.
I've noticed that.
But he's got his leather jacket, and it does have real buckles and tassels on it.
Definitely.
Like I said, there's not really much more to tell about this figure because most people have already gone into a standard review for it.
Anything to say about the display stand he's on?
Not really. It just it says Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's shaped like the T800 Endo chest, and it has a light up feature on it.
That's pretty cool. Hold on a second.
Oh yeah, see, it looks very nice. The only part of the figure I really don't like, because you can lose it very easily, and it's a pain.
Yeah, it's not easy to get it out either, as you can see.
Unless you hold the figure upside down.
Well, yeah, that would take it out instantly.
But there it is. It's supposed to be off that special edition version of Terminator 2, because this actually does open up. It comes with a little set of pliers, comes with a CPU chip on there, and it also comes with a piece of hair that you can put here, and the flap actually stays up to represent where they held it open with the pliers. This video will be available on my brother's channel, so you know, just leave him feedback, guys, and hope you guys enjoyed the figure. Sorry it took so long, but you know, I thought it'd be cool to do it with my brother. So yeah, here it is. And if he wants to add anything in,
I've personally got nothing to really say. The only thing that I can say is I'm sorry we didn't do a size comparisons, but as you can tell from up there, Batman's pretty much occupied.
Yeah, so he's pretty much about the same size as your normal 1/6 scale figure.
If I really had to show it off, I would say that Batman is about the size up to his shoulders, because Arnold is a pretty big guy, so they pretty much got it in scale with the actual actors for Michael Keaton and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
So other than that, I mean, I've got nothing else to say unless you do.
That's about it. So
yeah, I mean,
leave us feedback, guys, and I'm glad everybody finally got to see him, and you know, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my brother's channel, and once again, a big thanks to my boy Odell. You're the man. You know, you've always been a good friend of mine, and you always will be. Leave me feedback, guys, and check me out on my Facebook page. Later.
This isn't the figure that I was going to review. Obviously, I was going to go with this one right here, which is the one that I've had in my collection the longest. I've had this one for over a decade. Unfortunately, though, gold plastic syndrome got to him not too long ago. It finally got the better of him, but I gotta admit, for over a decade's worth, when usually the lifespan of gold plastic syndrome is like maybe a couple years or 5 years, he had a long life. The story of this figure, well, pretty much like Air Attack Optimus Primal, or even Stormjet, which is Jetstorm from Beast Machines. Yeah, the toy line sucked. The show was pretty good. The toy line sucked. The toy line got canceled, if I'm not mistaken. And any figures that were supposed to come out at the far end of the series that didn't see the light of day outside their factory got thrown into the Robots in Disguise line. And if I'm not mistaken, some of them actually went through a difference in color scheme. We can go through the articulation very quickly. Head does actually move left and right. The other version does not because it's made of gold plastic. So, you know, if you got that version, be careful. Ball jointed shoulders. ball jointed elbows, and that's it really for the articulation at the arms. No waist articulation due to transformation. Ball jointed legs, that's so. Ball jointed knees, which is kind of awkward how this is really long and the upper half is very short. You can't fix it though if you actually break him. There you go. But now he has stability problems because this is really what holds him in place. Just pop that back in. His shin guard is also on, not a ball joint, but it does move freely due to transformation, I guess. Ball jointed feet, pretty cool. And his little back heel right here are actually what keeps this figure standing, and they move around due to transformation. So there he is. There's Megatron Megabolt in his I don't know what you'll call it mode. Let's just say head mode. Now the Decepticons or the Predacons truly have the control over Fortress Maximus, if not for Scourge in there as well. I mean, Megatron Megabolt's got command of him. There you go. This is an awesome. This is very, very, very cool. I love this. I would love to keep him like this, and I probably will once Metroplex comes into play. And oh boy, you know, I'm not one to really say this, but I am sad for Fortress Maximus when that figure arrives, because he's had this title reign that's the biggest Transformer ever for how long now? How long? A little more over 20 years? That's a long time. That's 2 decades worth. That being said, it's Super Sentai once again with Fuwa Juzo, the very first actual official villain created from the Sentai Figuarts side of the S.H.Figuarts series. That being said, this is also none other than the American counterpart of Decker from Power Ranger Samurai. I can't really say much about the package. It's a very nice color. That's one thing I can say about it. Black works really nice with the figure. It's just that cool. Very phenomenal. I gotta say the detail on him just really pops out with all the black wash that's on him. Kind of speaking, I'm pretty sure this is what inspired Bandai America to actually black wash their Decker figure, even though it's not as detailed as an S.H.Figuarts. I gotta say this one is still pretty good. It's got bicep swivel, which is nice. Always a plus. 90-degree elbow bend. Wrist is on a ball joint to go any position you want, in and out, up and down, all that. He's got ball joint right here at the waist. He's got, I think he's got a cut up here at the top, but I really can't get it to move, and I'm not really going to force it because Figuarts have been known to break, unfortunately. I love the transparent color with the red. I mean, it just makes this figure pop. It makes it look as if he actually has some kind of indentation of some light piping. Unfortunately, though, he does not. It would have been cool if he did, but he does not. Still, pretty amazing. My figure suffers through a flaw, unfortunately. If you move the head a little too much, the mask will actually come off. I'm not so sure if this is supposed to happen. I haven't heard from anybody else on Ranger Board saying that this has happened to their figure. But, God, that is creepy. I mean, look at the American version. Yeah, you can see a major difference. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they didn't have to throw all this detail in and all this paint work, but, I mean, I'm glad they did, especially with how much I paid for this figure. So, for accessories, let's get to accessories. Why not? Just back him up for a second. Accessories. Instruction manual. Not needed, really. It's not needed. He has a sheath right here. Pretty cool. Pretty big. I mean, really, when it's on the figure, it's huge. He's also got a sword for his sheath, which is none other than Uramasa from Power Ranger Samurai, of course, since I don't know the actual Japanese name. There's a peg right here, and there's a hole up here, which it is a little hard to get it in here. It's not going in. Oh, there goes his face again. Ah, got it. Even though I suffered. Yeah. I suffered. He suffered. He's the one that's getting tortured here with me moving my hand so much on the figure, knocking off his mask, and that's not really going to stay on anymore, is it? I'll just show you the detail one last time. And I noticed I did not do a size comparison, so yeah, let's bring him in just for the heck of it, because it's his arch enemy, obviously. Shinken Red, or nonetheless Jaden from Power Ranger Samurai, and my camera's too high. There we go. So there you go, guys. I mean, that's it. I've got nothing else to say except that if you can find this figure, buy him. You will not regret it. I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot better than, if you see my review, you already know about this guy. I can decree this the day that I finally have my very first self-owned Power Rangers Power Morpher. Even if it is an updated model of the original, which is right here, which is crap now, I gotta say, finally opening up one out of package myself and not being a used version off of eBay really makes me feel happy. Close by in driving distance, like for instance, mine is about 2 to 3 hours away from where I live. And I'm not going to go drive over there and waste gas only to find out that it's still not in stock there. And don't even think about trying to get this thing off of Toys R Us's website, because let me tell you already, we got some Hawkeyes out there on Ranger Board. Remember that. But still, like I said, that's my story on this thing. And now let's get to the actual review. This one, on the other hand, does not have some kind of indicator that will beep around for about 5 minutes to let you know that, hey, I'm still on and you're draining my batteries. So just make sure that it's off if you're not using it, okay? Just make sure that's switched to off. Yeah, you get some sound effects. The first sound effect, which I've confirmed to be true, is actually when the lightning bolt clashes with the Power Rangers logo before they actually make their little roll call they do in the show. NCC-1701D, the electronic starship produced by Diamond Select Toys and Art Asylum. You got a nice little image of Patrick Stewart, or, Captain Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation. Very nice. Make it. You got a little information about the Enterprise itself, some basic information, like the length, the decks, how many crew members were aboard, that and civilians, and the maximum speed. Warp 9.6. Background story about the Enterprise itself and a little bit about Star Trek. Speaking of which, this thing is actually a toy. It's not a model. I didn't put this together myself. So, here's the toy. I just pulled this out package and put the thing together, which all I had to do was just that, and that was it. But overall, it's nice. Even if the quality is a little lacking, especially in the electronics, which is weird. I mean, it won't do that all the time, but still, I mean, it's spot on to the show. What the design of the show actually was, it's right there. I mean, it's like they actually took the studio model and made it very, very small. Where do I talk about this? The light was so bright on the inside that they really didn't do much with paintwork on the top. Or if anything, they were using some very thin plastic, because when that light was activated, it bled through the whole entire bridge port. The whole entire thing would light up like a Christmas tree, and that's not accurate either. As you can see, we have painted on windows for the next section of the hall, compared right next to the saucer section. Awesome. Thank you very much, Diamond Select Toys, for fixing that little mishap that you should have done from day one. Okay, stop. Stop. I don't want to give away all the sound gimmicks right now, especially since I really can't give them all away, because the saucer section is dead. Anything that's going on with the electronics, like the lights, It's all coming from here. It's all converting from this area, which runs on AAA batteries, and it's going into this area, which runs on C-cell batteries. These little mishaps right here. You can't replace these things. I repeat, if you hold down the button for about 5 seconds, you will cycle through all the sound features. Okay. Let's try that again. One more time. Come on. No, 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 no. Bad. Bad Enterprise. You're making this review a lot longer than what it should be. I'm going to hit the reset button and we're going to try this again. And now we're starting to have trouble with the wiring. It really sickens me when I have to pay so much for so little, and sometimes when I do get the equal amount of so much I pay for, only to find out that there's a problem. But I'm not going to replace it because obviously chances are I'm not going to get a better deal. And if anything, Big Bad Toy Store probably won't give me a refund on this or let me replace it anyhow, so I'm just going to deal with it. That's all I can say about it. Wake Angel questions it. Other reviewers out there question it. And got nothing else to say about it. So let's just get it out of the way. It is a pretty good issue nonetheless. But still, why? Why 218? It's overall the same figure as Wave 1 through 4, I guess. I don't know. It's got a loose arm. Quality issue. But then again, this figure is always crappy. He's always got sloppy paintwork at the bottom, or you know, right around his stomach. His face is painted this time for some odd reason, so that's a little different. Finally, at long last, besides Big the Cat, we got another cat character. And I can never get enough about cats. Cats are pretty cool. Yeah. So what? So I'm a guy. I like cats. So what? Anyhow. Paintwork is pretty nice on this figure. Very, very nice. Like I said, a little bit around the stripes and maybe some at the soles of her high heels. Yeah. Yeah. But still, very nice touch. And I do thank Jazzwares for actually throwing this down here underneath her skirt so, you know, it's not in the way. I'm trying to get it to focus and it just won't, but you can kind of see it. It's their little tag they throw on every figure saying like made in China, Jazzwares of this year and all that. This has got to be the most scariest part about this figure, unfortunately. This is not even close to the thickness of Amy's arms. I mean, this is creepy. This is really, really thin. Very thin. I mean, look at this. You can tell by my fingers. Look how thin these arms are. He's a pitiful figure. But really, like I said, it's not about this figure. It's about this figure right here. So it's nice to have Blaze added to my Sonic collection. Unfortunately, she does have a tendency to fall back because she does have a little bit of a heaviness to her head because of her hair, I guess you can say. But it's not that bad. I really don't have to slap any thumbtacks underneath there. And for some quick size comparisons, let's throw in some cats. Why not? Here's Big the Cat, the only other Jazzwares figure. And just to throw it in because it's a Beyond universe and my work, let's throw in my pussy. Like I did with the Red Ranger one, because obviously it's pretty much the same figure, just a few differences here and there when it comes into the terms of the Dragon Ranger rather than the Tyranno Ranger. But that being said, this is the review of the S.H.Figuarts Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series 20th anniversary run of the Green Ranger. Now, it didn't take me long to actually get him to do this. I've been practicing. It only took me about maybe 3 minutes tops to get him to actually hold the Dragon Dagger up to his actual mouth. See? But this is pretty much how I'm going to be leaving him in this pose. So I'm not going to be going much through the articulation. I'll describe the articulation, but I'm not really going to touch the figure in the term. I gotta say, the best shield as we've ever gotten when it comes close to accuracy to the show. I've got a little bit of some nitpicks here and there, but yes, to answer you guys' questions, the shield is actually removable, though it's not meant to be removed. You have to pop these bits off right here, and it's not easy getting them back on, and I'm not going to do it. And because I did not show this off in the last review, I do apologize. It just slipped my mind. Yes, the back of the Rangers are actually painted. The diamonds are completely painted, as you can see, and there's no sloppiness like Bandai of America's products, but, you know, let's continue the rant. Why not? I despise them. And beyond that, the only thing that I can really show off here is the actual belt, the Morpher itself. As you can see, it's not the same as the Red Rangers, as his is the Tyranno power coin. This one is actually the Dragon's Foot, which is pretty cool. And nice that they actually painted it gold rather than being silver, like, you know. So, yes, in the terms of accuracy, these figures have really got it. All I can say is it is very nicely detailed, and I don't know why this has got such a fascination to collectors. What is so important about this, since he only used it in 3 episodes? And then it's never heard from again after the Red Ranger destroys it with the Blade Blaster. I don't know. I guess it's one of his signature weapons, since he's the only one that actually wielded it. Today we are going to be looking in at a RedX review of epic proportions of the return of the Movie Star Edition Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, produced by Playmates Toys back in 1992. Which is, I mean, you can feel it. Very soft, very rubbery, and kind of slimy. Just a little slimy in some areas, which is kind of cool. I mean, it really feels like an actual turtle in the palm of my hands, which is awesome. And you can't get their arms to come up so high like that. You can't get their legs to come up more beyond that. I mean that is just, this is great movement for figures back in the early 90s. I mean, there really wasn't much in the terms of articulation for figures back then, but I mean, Playmates had something going here. Sadly, though, it just wasn't well executed. I'm sorry to say it, these figures are not perfect. And they're not great. They're good. They're nice, but, I mean, they're not great, and they're not the ones that suffer the most is Raphael and Leonardo, and they've got flat feet. Both feet on the ground, and yet, for some reason, they fall over the most. Now, they're all going to fall over eventually, because, I mean, it's like I said, they just can't support the weight of the shelves. And these are figures that have very little accessories. They don't even have all their primary weapons, and also due to the fact that they don't even have their belts, sometimes you can't get these figures under $100. Now, sometimes you can get lucky enough, but they would be missing a limb or something here and there. But that'd be like under 50, because there never really was any original movie edition Ninja Turtle figures, not until The Secret of the Ooze came out, where, like I said, it was kid friendly and pointed more in the direction for kids rather than teenagers and adults. So it works. The only way I can do this review is to break it up in groups. I will not be reviewing every figure today. I will be doing it another day. There will be a part 1, part 2, and if possible, a part 3 of this review of the story behind Power Rangers Dino Thunder as I remember. I'm not sure if I remember anything off the top of my head. I was really participating in this series. Even more than what we got in Power Rangers well. I kid you not, this was great. And it's not a certain character that is coming. No, because I was sorry, I was I really got into the that time. We didn't know I had any more. But that being said, this is how I remember Power Rangers Dino Thunder. For these 3 characters, because I was able to look at characters and I want to review. I sure said all that. I'm sure you know all that as well. You behind this camera. So, here we go. We're going to start off with the 4 Rangers, the beginning of it all. We have the Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, Yellow Ranger, Terminator, Code Names, None Carbon 9, Agent 04, How Time Number 4. Okay, stop me. Come on. Personalities, Soccer Player, Computer Whiz, the Geek, the Nerd, Mini Names, and we got the Undertitle 1B. Yeah, that pretty much explains what they do for a living. So we got these 3 G&B. Well, long after Tony comes to teacher every side for his first day, as I'm explaining. Now, I understand I missed a lot of information through the past. Yeah. First, I understand I didn't go through each one of them, but I'm just killing time going through everyone that's got the same articulation except for one. Of course, it had to be the female, didn't it, Bandai? You sexist bastards, you really, really don't show respect anymore. This ain't the good old days anymore, now is it? I'll give you credit where credit is due. At least you got a freaking cycle. At least. But I digress. Then their main weapons of the freaking series. It's just like Samurai all over again, except Samurai came later. Samurai, you had the Mega Mode Rangers before the basic suit Rangers. I can understand why that happened. I can understand. And I accept and I forgive them for that mistake. This, on the other hand, is catastrophe. I mean, you would have to buy separate Rangers again from Wave 2, which was after around summertime, actually. They were featured gimmick Rangers where they had these little buttons on the back of some of them. You squeeze their legs and they move around a little bit to get these weapons. Now, I'm not upset because of the fact that they're not painted too well, but it's pretty good. Very nice detail on each and every one of them, which you're probably not going to see whatsoever on any of them. So yeah, always forgiven for this one thing, but the really shit came with these weapons. But other than that, I mean, that's really it for these guys. Did I also mention that they're fully painted? Except for a few places, like at the knees and maybe a little bit at the top. But I mean, I digress. These figures are awesome. You really can't turn these down unless you like collecting the 3.5-inch figures, which I do. These are really out of date. I'm waiting for S.H.Figuarts to get a hold of a line approval for ABBA Ranger, because that would be so awesome to have. So, let's just go ahead and get to today's review, which is none other than the return of the Sonic franchise once again to RedX Reviews. It is Tails and his PDA device from the brand new Sonic line from Jazzwares. This came out back in, I want to say, late December, early January, this is best as I can remember. Sorry it took me a while to finally get to reviewing this thing, but as you can see, I just got this thing. I don't have to explain why, you're about to find out. Giving them the ability to swivel at the elbows and swivel at the knees, I decided to pop those little extensions off and just give him basic legs. It's pretty basic for the brand new articulated style of the figures, which I have to admit are not really that great. I really do not like them. Sure, it gives them a little more movement, a little more free play when it comes to posing these figures, but it hinders the sculpt of these figures. The proportions are either a hit or a miss. But after my little modding I did to Tails, which I probably am going to throw up on sonicgear.org if they'll accept it, I think he looks pretty dang good. And they actually do rotate. Now, if you do this modification, just take note that he's not going to have any knee joints. But the original figure does have knee joints. His knees will bend at a 90 degrees and they will swivel as well. So that's the only difference between modding the figure and what the original look looks like. And really, when he's got those extra joints to the legs, so he's got knee joints, it really makes him too tall. Let's bring in some other characters. Let's bring in Knuckles, because obviously Knuckles is supposed to be the tallest out of the trio. And just for personal reasons, let's just bring in Amy. Why not? So there you go. So there's your size differences, and as you can see, if I get Sonic and Knuckles out of the way, push these two next to each other, yep, just like in Sonic X actually, Amy is a tad taller than Tails. So yeah, it works. My only real complaint about this figure, besides the scale not being changed whatsoever, is the fact that, I mean, it's good work, it's really great work, but the paint work could have been better. I mean, it's really sloppy at the boots. As you can see, his cuffs are painted over his actual, I don't know what you call them. I call them socks. Let's just call them socks. So the socks are covered up by the cuffs in paint work, which is no, Jazzwares. And he's missing the cuffs on his gloves. As you can see, they're not there. They're not present. Or if anything, they're not even painted. I could go on, but those are the main two besides Tails that I could possibly think of. Oh, and speaking of which, you probably want to know what's the size difference between him now and the original Tails. Yeah, well, this is pretty much what I was talking about at the beginning when I said we would get right to it. There you go. There's the original Tails. Well, here it is finally, the RedX review of epic proportions that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and by that I mean it took a year's worth of time to get a hold of this. This is probably the one and the only actual Hot Toys Batmobile that came out of production with an issue when it comes to its electronics. The right tail light was not lit up. I pried that sucker open to find out what the problem was, and I can tell you that the wires were pretty much cut off the circuit board, as I'm going to call it. So I learned a new skill over the weekend with a little help here and there and a lot of support. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the support. For those who saw the video, you could tell how extremely ticked off I was. Here it is, the Hot Toys Batmobile, the 1989 Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batman film. It's already on its rotating stand, which is down here, which we don't have to get into because, well, this is a big behemoth, and I can also tell you that it is very heavy. Pretty much there was these brakes installed to the back of the wheels, and unless you remove them, you're not going to be able to rotate the wheels on the back of the Batmobile, because if you do, then obviously you're going to damage something. I've already taken the liberty to removing all that. It's all in this bag right here, pretty much, where Batman's pretty much busting through the excess chemical plants. He shoots down the doors, going from side to side like so with the turret guns, which is pretty cool. Very nice pop-up machine guns. Very nice chain link, which is pretty cool. It is actually removable if you want, but I wouldn't do it. I will say this, however, if they ever do decide to do the Batmissile Batmobile for Batman Returns license, I say it would be best just for them to actually do just the car itself, split it in its Batmissile mode instead of, you know, trying to figure out a way to execute these sides here. Just for added features, these caps right here can open up, not easily, but they can, and you can like pretend that Batman's filling up his Batmobile. It got everything incorporated into this toy, so what are you complaining about? Other than that, the wheels do actually turn, which is nice, and they are very nicely detailed, like in the actual film. Very cool. And they feel like real tires, they really do, especially for how much you pay for this thing. Very nice. My only real issue about Batman inside this Batmobile is that he's not actually wearing his boots. I kid you not. That is the only way I could actually get Batman to actually fit flush inside this Batmobile. I had to take his feet off. For some odd reason, this Batmobile is just a little tight around Batman's head, and he doesn't really have enough clearance to get his ears all the way in. Yeah, I forgot to mention also, when you put Batman inside, you have to put most of his cape on the passenger side, as the instructions show, because it's quite impossible to get him in there, because the cape just, it takes up most of the space on Batman, and it's just really hard to get him in there. You might actually have to contort him here and there, but that's how it is. So unfortunately it's not perfect, but you know what? This is as close as it's gonna get. So that's it, guys. I've got nothing else to say. Any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. I'll answer them when I got time. And yeah, so that's me, RedX, signing out. Thank you everyone for watching this, and until we meet again, you know, I'm gonna sit this back on my stand. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.